Kia ora koutou, no mai haere mai, and welcome to Frogs on Friday. Today we're focusing on mental health in the workplace, and we'll start with Mahi Media looking at youth mental health specifically. We'll go through some of the hot jobs across New Zealand, Australia and the UK. And are conversations around mental health still a taboo topic in your office? We're joined today by Senior Media Advisor Mark Wilson from the Mental Health Foundation of New Zealand to discuss the evolution of mental health in today's workplace. And as always, we'll finish off with our social media poll results. So let's jump into Mahi Media. Now, a recent New Zealand health survey found that over half of all New Zealanders aged 15 to 24 experience anxiety or depression, and numbers of young people with moderate to high distress have nearly doubled since 2016 and 17. 3/4 of lifelong mental health challenges begin by age 25. So it's so crucial that we're able to support our young people with mental health challenges now, as those challenges are likely to continue into adulthood. I always do like to have a positive spin, of course. So in good news, an Education Review Office report published this week found that the Counselling in Schools scheme that was introduced into New Zealand primary schools in 2021 is showing some really good outcomes with improved attendance and behaviour, and most importantly, that distressed children feel better. We saw that 8 out of 10 students reported improved psychological health after receiving counselling. So let's hope that the scheme is continued and expanded to support our tamariki and rangatangi. Kia kaha Aotearoa. If we go on to our hot jobs across New Zealand. Okay, so first up, we have a financial analyst role. This one looks like a contract position based in Wellington. They're looking specifically for experience with asset assessment and valuation within the public sector. Obviously, you'll need some experience as a financial analyst previously and be able to set up finance processes. If you're interested in this or other roles within accounting, contact Mark Smith in our Wellington office. Okay, and our permanent role is an account manager. This one's based in Auckland, paying around the 80 to 85k mark as a base salary. For this one, they're looking to support key accounts and drive business growth, and you'll need to have experience within medical devices or similar industries. as well as proven account management experience. If you'd like to find out more, get in touch with Kirsty from our Auckland office. Okay, let's take a look at some of our hot jobs further abroad. So for Australia, we have a payroll officer in New South Wales. We have a data entry officer, looks like a temp role based in Victoria, and a corporate solicitor in the UK. So as always, just a selection of the many roles that we have available across our branches in Australia and the UK. Now, I'm thrilled to be joined by Mark Wilson, a Senior Media Advisor at the Mental Health Foundation of New Zealand. Welcome to the show, Mark.
Kia ora, thank you so much.
Now, first off, for those who may not be aware, can you tell us a little bit about the Mental Health Foundation and what kind of services and support you provide?
Great. Well, Mental Health Foundation is a charity, and we are working toward creating a society free of stigma and discrimination, and where our own personal well-being and mental health is flourishing, which is really grand, our ideals, and I think really important for all of us. So we're not a service provider in the sense of we don't provide counselling or therapeutic support, but we do provide free access to information around mental health and mental illness guides and information. We have a wide variety of campaigns and programs that you might be aware of, like Mental Health Awareness Week coming up in 10 days, and Pink Shirt Day, the anti-bullying campaign, and we've got a Mullets Matters campaign as well, which is all about growing a mullet and that sense of community that comes from that. And we've got a really strong policy and advocacy team as well that is pushing government toward, really good evidence-based mental health and wellbeing policy. So that's kind of what we do on a day-to-day basis. So a lot of the information is available online for free. So if you go to mentalhealth.org.nz, you can find all of that kind of stuff to help you be a better informed person. And if you're supporting somebody with a mental illness, there's a lot of really good information, and particularly around suicide prevention guides as well.
Fantastic resources and support there. And yes, with the Mental Health Awareness Week coming up, I know I've got a pack of resources that you provide kits free of charge for businesses wanting to get involved and really promote that. So I think one's winging its way to my mailbox as we speak.
Oh, awesome.
I don't know that I'll get involved with the mullet thing, though. Might save that for some others.
No, because, well, the theme for 𝗵𝗲 this year is community is what we create together. And what we've found from people who grow mullets is that they've got a real sense of community. People admire a mullet. We can kind of sometimes get a little bit go whoa about them, but what it does, it connects, it begins that conversation. It's about people have a story, they have incredible stories about their mullet and what it means to them, and so it's been just the most fantastic way of celebrating diversity in New Zealand, I guess, and that's just one of the many great things we do. But yeah, go on, you could give it a go. I'm too follically challenged to do it, but
well, yeah, plenty of other ways to get involved and be part of that community.
exactly.
Now, there's no denying over the past few years, particularly, have been difficult for all of Aotearoa, with many of us going through or still recovering from extreme weather events, bearing the brunt of inflation and high cost of living. What are some of the key strategies that organisations can implement to foster a more open and supportive environment for discussing mental health?
Well, I think the important part of looking out at, obviously you have, legislation which says you have to have a healthy and safe workplace, and this is mental health as well. And we know from all our work that if you have policies in place, you're going to end up with employees that are going to be more productive, that you're going to have less absenteeism, and they're just going to enjoy being in the workplace. So we really think people should be included in any policy making that you're looking at implementing into a workplace. So do talk to your staff about what they want, how they want to see their workplace support them to do their job as best as possible. And as a result, you will have a workplace that really flourishes, and you'll find the turnover won't be as high, that people will enjoy being there, that they'll work together well as a team, all those really important things to have a mentally healthy workplace. And, it's a challenge getting there sometimes, and we all have stress in our life, and from time to time that can spill over into other aspects of our well-being. So I guess it's about expectations of people, and I guess it's also like the 24/7 nature of our work. It's hard to switch off sometimes, but it's really important to switch off. All of us have to take responsibility for that, whether it's a worker and certainly as an employer as well.
Well, it's definitely so important to be able to involve everyone and have that engagement and to get that buy-in, but also to be able to showcase that it is normal to talk about these things, and we're all experiencing different things, and you never know what's what's behind the cherry smile.
Exactly.
So
we all have mental health, and I think that's the thing to think about, that mental health is a long continuum, and it's people often focus on the mental illness, that's a diagnosis of a particular condition, whereas we also got to think about the greater chunk of us that might have some sort of distressing incident in our life, whether it's a workplace or something that's happening at home and our own personal lives, that all interact to make us go, life's a bit tough at the moment. So, and it's hard being at work, or work may be part of that, but often it's other life factors. And if you've got a mentally healthy workplace, you'll be able to sit and talk with your team lead, or whatever it is, whether you've got an HR team, and hopefully work through strategies to get through that, because we know that half of us in our lifetime are going to have a mental health issue. So let's acknowledge that that's something that happens, and that it's not forever, and often it's about ensuring good work practices so people can continue to work, but they might have to do that a little bit differently.
Now, I know even in my time in the workforce that it's definitely changed in the conversation around mental health, and being able to break down that stigma. As you say, everybody has mental health, so it's something that shouldn't be kept in the background. How have you seen that evolve, particularly maybe over the last few years?
I think it's changed a lot since pandemic days as well. I think we are more aware of the importance of workplaces in people's lives, and teamwork and collegiality. It's great that we can use technology to engage for those of us who aren't working in an office environment, but we need that really important connection. So that's had a big influence. Sometimes it's been quite positive. It's given us a bit more flexibility. Those of us who might be parents who feel like we can leave the office to go to the three-legged race at school, all those important things that make us feel connected and engaged to our family, but equally feel able to say to the boss, hey, I'm going to be doing this, but I can make up that time somewhere else. There's the flexibility that I think is critical. And all of this is part of the well-being and mental health. It's the ability to feel like you're trusted and you're able to kind of work how it works well for you, and you're still able to produce the outcomes that you're expected to produce. So I think that's a key part of what the changes have been. And also, as you said, people are more open about their mental well-being, and workplaces are more accepting of that. And if you've got good policies in place, you can work through that time in somebody's life.
Fantastic. Of course, we're all on a journey, and it's not a quick fix, but it's great to see these improvements coming along. What are some of the things that you're excited about in seeing these changes, or perhaps some of the initiatives that you have through 𝗵𝗃?
Well, because we've got Mental Health Awareness Week coming up, I think I really want to push that as a way that workplaces can engage. So you can go to 𝗵𝗃aw.nz, and all those resources are available to draw down, print off, and look at some activities you can put into your workplace just to add a little bit more interest and understanding about the importance of mental health and well-being. So that's critical. We have so many free resources available to people. So I think it's begin the exploration of looking at what could you do in your workplace to add just a little bit more levity, joy, whether it's an activity at a staff meeting. We've got quiz things, get to know your colleague, get to know that person that you've worked alongside for the last 2 years, and you realize you don't even know what they do on the weekend. When we get to know and understand each other, we have a greater acceptance. And I think that's the critical thing, that New Zealand's become a very diverse country. So there's many cultures, and that's a real gift that we can learn from each other. And so it's getting to know each other is really important.
And you mentioned before the three-legged race, so that might be a way to bring some fun into the week as well. Although I was always better at the wheelbarrow, actually.
Yes, that's another classic, isn't it? Yeah. But those are the sort of things that I've been able to, since I've worked at Mental Health Foundation, I've been able to do. And my partner overheard me having a one-on-one with my boss the other day, and then said that evening, wow, I've never had a one-on-one like that, where the boss, who happens to be our chief executive, asked me how I was doing and was my workload too much. It's just like something that I take for granted isn't always the same for somebody else. And so I think those small things about checking in with your workmate, or checking in with your employee about how are they coping with work at the moment, and then depending what the answer is, you may or may not have to kind of look at how can we change things. It's simple, quite simple. I think we possibly overthink what needs to happen, but those little steps can make a big difference to somebody's life.
Absolutely. Well, so thank you so much for joining us today. And the details for the Mental Health Foundation of New Zealand are on the screen there. So be sure to check out some of the excellent resources and tips along the way there. Thanks so much for joining us, Mark.
My pleasure.
Okay, so last week we looked at challenges. So what was the biggest challenge that your team has faced throughout 2024? And the big one was recruiting new staff. Now, this one's a bit of an interesting one. I swear we haven't rigged the results just for us as a recruitment agency. But there's been a lot of talk this year about the increased number of job seekers available, and more people looking for work and available. And there was that feeling that, it's going to be easy to find new staff. But as always, quantity doesn't equal quality. So it can be still quite hard to recruit new staff there. So interesting to see those results. Let's have a look at this week's question. Do you feel comfortable discussing mental health openly in your workplace? So, as we've talked about today, that stigma is being removed, but let's see how the results come in there, and hopefully the "yes, I feel supported" is going to come out on top. We'd love to hear about your experiences as well. That is it for today's show. Thanks so much for joining us. Keep well and see you next week.